Are you done people pleasing? Done comparing yourself to every woman on your Instagram feed? Done dating men who give you the bare minimum effort and somehow convincing yourself that it's enough? Done playing small so you can fit into spaces that were never built for you in the first place? Good. You are in exactly the right place. Welcome to Your Unapologetic Life, the podcast for women who are ready to stop settling and start showing up fully, confidently, and completely unapologetically in every area of their lives. I'm your host, Morgan Barkis, confidence coach for women, author, speaker, and exotic dance instructor with a master's degree in marriage and family therapy. I have built my confidence the hard way, speaking up for myself when it's scary, feeling sexy in my body when everything around me said I shouldn't, traveling alone, moving across the country by myself multiple times, dating with standards, knowing what I want, and asking for it without apology. I have been in the mess and I have come out the other side, and now I coach women on how to do the same. This podcast is for the woman who is done waiting for permission, done waiting until she is skinnier, more polished, less complicated, or finally chosen by someone who keeps her guessing. She is smart, she is capable, and she is exhausted from trying to hold it all together while quietly falling apart inside. This is not a podcast about toxic positivity or 5 steps to a better morning routine. This is real talk about confidence, dating, body image, self-worth, and what it actually takes to become a woman who does not settle ever again. I'm glad you're here. If you're like me, you're listening at 1.5 speed while doing other things. So let's get into it. Yeah. I feel like there's so many places I want to start. I'm like, okay, you're a Wisconsin girl. You have great colors in all of your social media stuff. So I wanted it.
Oh, thanks.
Not that that's a huge deal, but I'm like, she's colorful and bright and sunshiny. And then also I thought, you know what? Let's talk community first, because I'm working with Jillian Murphy. She's my business coach. And it's like, what if you create community? Like, people need to experience you, like hang out with you. And I was like, I love getting women together. Mm-hmm. And so I'm launching the Confidence Club like literally tomorrow. So anyway, so I wanted to talk to you about community because you and I are both from Wisconsin. I'm from an even smaller town than you're from, I think. Is Rhinelander bigger or smaller than La Crosse? Do you know?
I have no idea. La Crosse is about 60,000 people.
Oh, yeah. Rhinelander was maybe 10 if we were lucky. Okay. So anyway, so I could not wait to move away and get to the big city. And I moved to Minneapolis. That was my first big city move. And then I moved to Miami, Los Angeles, back to Miami, and then small town Kentucky, and now Chicago. So I've always been more of a city gal. And even naturally, you're around more people. That doesn't necessarily mean you're in community. So talk to me why community was so important to you and how you created that. And what does it look like?
Sure. Community to me is something that I've done very naturally over the years. So I just have never been someone who like really fit in with a group or fit into a box. I could always kind of fit in and out of a lot of different groups. And I just had friends in all different, phases and stages of my life. And I just found that I never felt like I fully fit in. And I think that is my why that I created community, because I felt like, well, if I can't find what I'm looking for, then there has to be other people out there like me. So I did that with my first business. From age 20 to 30, I grew and scaled a fitness and yoga studio called Zen and Pow. And so that was my first experience of building in-person community. It was for women. And it was so cool because we really did have a mix of ages and, just everyone's stage in their wellness journey. And then I naturally did the same thing for business. I looked around and felt like I didn't have a lot of friends to turn to who were also in the seasons that I was in business. And so I created that as a community, which is now my business community that I've been leading and growing for the last 5 years, called Small Business Sister Circle. And so I feel like I've just naturally been someone that I enjoy being around other people. I'm a generator. I love pouring into other people. I love the energy piece of it. And if I couldn't find the community that I was looking for, I just thought, why not me? Why not create it myself? There has to be other people out there like me. And I think that some of the best communities come from filling a need, filling a gap, and being able to let people come and gather together and have so many differences in one space, right? Like I said, the ages, the stages, even in Sister Circle, we have people building businesses in retirement. We have 20-year-old business owners like I was, and we all get to learn from each other. We all get to support each other. And I think that is what I love so much about community, is just the variety of people, of perspectives, and that we're all coming together for our own goals, but also these like common mission and purpose of what we're building. We're trying to build in businesses in a sustainable way that doesn't burn us out. And that happens through community.
I love that. I actually was, as you were talking, thinking about one of the reasons I wanted to also build a community was I miss teaching dance and fitness because it was all like-minded women. And women would say to me, you know, Morgan, sometimes I go into other settings and I'm not around as supportive of women and I feel either ostracized or judged or whatever. And I come here and I feel safe and we laugh and we have fun and we're all here to support each other. And I thought, oh, I love that. And I miss being around women like that. So my guess is your community is much like that.
It's so funny you say that, because I started my first business, yes, because I actually really loved group sports growing up. I played softball. I was a team captain, always getting people in the weight room, like, hey guys, let's work out together. And so that's why I started teaching group fitness classes in college, because I missed that team element and I wasn't playing college sports. So my first business actually kind of filled that void and replaced that. And then naturally, yes, even in what I do now, like leading my community, I mean, we dance, we have fun, you know, we're doing a lot of those same things that I even built in my first business. Like even the soul piece of it, I've brought the spirituality that I shared through my yoga studio into business, and just bringing all of these different pieces and parts of myself. And people can take it, you know, or leave it, whatever pieces resonate with them. But I love filling that need, like you said, like looking for that safe space. That's really what building community is all about, is cultivating a safe space. And it's so funny because in my life, I can hardly think of experiences or places where I'm around people that don't feel supportive or don't feel, you know, the energy that I'm used to, because that's just naturally what I surround myself with. So if you're feeling like I miss being around people that are good vibes, good energy, always having fun, then you need to go and seek that out, because there are communities out there where you will have that. And once you become a part of them, like your life just changes. Every part of your life is positively impacted by a community of often women, if you are women, that genuinely support you and want to celebrate you.
Yeah. There's multiple ways I want to go because I'm like, oh, she wrote a book. I want to talk about that. So don't let me forget that. Okay, Stephanie. And then you also like threw out generator for a listener that's like, wait, what is a generator? I'm a generator too. Yes. Do you know what your dominant like sense is or whatever? Like I was reading and it said mine was smell. And I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Because it doesn't matter if I get into someone's car, I go to a restaurant, like I'm very aware of smells. And so I was like, that makes sense that's my top sensory, like whatever. Do you know what yours is?
I don't know if I know what my top sense is. I know that I'm a 2-5. Okay. So I'm like a hermit, like, but I love like helping other people too. Yeah. So that's like the number that I have. And I know I'm an emotional authority. So I'm someone that needs to ride the emotional wave to be able to make a very clear decision. So those are the things that I've like really leaned into with that. But yeah, it's so helpful to understand what you are. And I do actually think, this is just my personal opinion, but generators, most of the community leaders I know are generators. And it's because it does take a lot to lead a community long term, especially, you know, like it's fun to like start it and the hype is there, but to like really sustain it long term, I think takes a lot of that generator energy. And we still need to like feel lit up about it. But being able to pour into other people, we have to really understand ourselves and how we can also take care of ourselves, knowing that we are holding space for so many other people.
Yeah, and there are multiple personality or like quality tests that can help. Like this one is the human
Mhm.
design, so you can literally go online, Google human design, and find the quiz. The other one I liked that was sort of forced upon me, and I'm glad I did it, was the Strengths Finder,
Mm.
because when I worked for a medical device company, you had to take it because your manager wanted to know like what your top 5 strengths were, and one of mine was activator, and I was like, well, that makes sense, because it's like as soon as someone's like, oh, we should do this, I like, well, let's make it happen, like let's set a
Yeah.
date, let's get it on the calendar. Real quick, I want to tell you about the Confidence Club. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, I host a free virtual brunch for women who want real conversation, real connection, and zero filters. I bring a topic, ask a question, and we just talk. No agenda, no pressure, and no, you do not even have to shower first. Think less networking call and more your favorite group chat, but live. Women show up, connect, collaborate, and leave feeling seen and supported. I miss getting women together in a room, and this is my version of that. The link to grab your calendar invite is in the show notes. Come as you are. I will see you on Wednesday. So if someone
Yeah.
says, maybe we should get coffee, I'm like, well, here's 3 coffee shops that are really great in the area, and here are a few days that I'm available. Which one works for you? So it's,
Yeah, exactly. Generator energy is like not playing around. Like
yeah,
if you're going to tell me an idea, we're going to make it happen.
exactly.
Another one that I really love that our community uses a lot is called Working Genius.
Okay.
There's 6 different ones, and even for that, I am what they call a galvanizer, which is like rallying people together. So it
I
is a
love that. Yeah.
quality. And some I didn't really understand it till more recently. Like, why is that? Where everywhere I go, I like create community. And, some people find it really challenging to build community while other people are really invigorated by it and love it. And that just comes down to knowing yourself and knowing your why behind it and making sure that you have that intentionality behind building that community in the first place.
Yeah. I'd like to rewind and go back, not all the way first. First, can you remind me how we even connected? Was it through Jillian? Because I'm like part of Chris and Lori Harder's mastermind, also part of Jillian Murphy's. So it's like I'm meeting all these amazing women and I'm having a hard time keeping track of who I met where. So we were in,
Yeah, I'm in Jillian's Infinity program. So we met through that.
love that. Okay. And well, and she attracts go getters. Like
Yes.
Jillian attracts women who want results quickly, which is awesome. That's why it's funny because she's my coach and I'm her coach because we both, I think we're very similar in that it's like, here's my issue. Let's figure it out together. Um, so who was little Stephanie? Like you grew up in Wisconsin, and the reason I'm going to go back is I want to kind of learn the evolution of Stephanie in that I am a confidence coach. I talk all things confidence. So it's what is it that you want to do in your life that you need the confidence for? Is it to go out on the dance floor? Is it to apply for the job? Is it to ask the guy out or end a relationship? Like there's so many things that women want to do and they're like, oh, I don't have the confidence to do that. Get a haircut. I've had people go, oh, I love your hair. I wish I could cut my hair like that. Well, you can. Like there's literally no reason that you can't, like it's having the confidence to just do the thing, wear the thing, say the thing, post the thing. And we weren't all raised, especially as women, to be confident. We were usually raised to get along. I wasn't, thank goodness. I was raised by a very outspoken, strong woman who was like, no, you say what you want. I'm not going to, she helped me
Mhm.
know my voice very early on. And there were also things that I had to work through in my life to be confident in money, confident in relationships, confident in my body. So, I'm just curious, like who was little Stephanie and how you grew up and because you to me come across as a confident woman who's confident to get people together, create atmosphere, create magic in a way. And were you always like that? And what were you like?
Yeah, I love this question. I feel so fortunate and blessed that like I was very privileged to have incredible parents. Both parents were entrepreneurs. I was never questioned in my journey of entrepreneurship of whether I could do it or not. And I know that that is not the case for most people. It's actually the whole reason why my actual sister and I started Sister Circle, was because we felt so lucky to have this like family support as entrepreneurs. So growing up, we had all kinds of little business side hustles. My mom actually did in-home daycare. So we were charging, the parents to come to our plays that their kids were in, and we did carnivals and we did museums and concerts in the driveway and all kinds of little entrepreneurial pursuits. And that was encouraged. That was very like well supported by our parents. And I just think that that was the starting ground for believing that I could do anything and anything was possible. And it is very different than most people's upbringing to have the entrepreneurial side, and also parents that are really building you up. And I realized that as I got older, oh, this is not everyone's experience in their upbringing. And so I'm very grateful for that. It's not to say that I didn't have other challenges, but I had really great parents. So that was something they were always building us up. I mean, I got a job when I was 14. They encouraged us to work hard. Whatever you want, you can have, but how are you going to pay for it was kind of the mentality. And I appreciated that. I appreciated learning work ethic and, signing my name behind my work and different things like that. And I think that was the catalyst to start my own business when I was 20 years old in college, which most people wouldn't do, but it was encouraged. And I mean, my parents even signed behind my first business loan because I was like 24 and had no assets, no money, or, nothing that of value that I could sign behind it. So that was a huge reason why I do think that I was able to jump into entrepreneurship. And I had many, many, many other challenges and struggles along the way. My whole book is like that first decade journey of growing and scaling that first business. There was a lot of hard lessons learned, investments that didn't pay out the way that I wanted to, relationships that were challenging, building a team, hiring, firing. I went through a lawsuit with my first or my second landlord. So there was a lot of other hard lessons, but something that I'm really grateful for is just the support of my family and the confidence that they instilled in me from a very young age. And I was kind of just raised to believe. I was kind of raised in that masculine energy from my dad that like, go after whatever you want. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do it. You can do it. Kind of that prove you wrong mentality, which has served me. But I am trying to kind of move into a different way of being now. A little bit more of that feminine energy, a little bit more of that not so much hustle and grind. I do think you need that in entrepreneurship, especially when you're starting. But I also went through lots of periods of burnout and just like finding my edge, playing my edge, pushing myself without, going past what is healthy for me, just knowing myself now in my 30s. So yeah, I was always a little performer though. Someone that like enjoyed making other people happy and just performing for other people. And that's kind of what I do now in a way. Did it in my fitness and yoga studio, and now I get to do it when I'm speaking on stages.
When you say masculine versus feminine energy, what does that mean to you? Because I oftentimes with my clients, I'll say, women are meant to receive. If I'm working with a woman who has paid for dates, had a hard time receiving, letting people pay for things or doing things for her. And I was like, women literally anatomically and just energetically are meant to receive. And there's, that doesn't mean we're weak, but I don't know. So for me, that's kind of my definition. What for you is feminine versus masculine? For the woman listening, going, I don't know what that means.
I think you nailed it with the receiving side of things. That's actually like a big thing that I'm working on right now, is just not feeling like I need to force everything. Or, sometimes I feel like you get so close to your goals and you want it to happen faster that you almost like try to like overwork or like force an outcome. And instead, I'm trying to lean into more of like the surrender side of things. To me, feminine energy is more of like a a trusting and a surrendering. You know, I think of childbirth, like that's, I mean, you can't go through it without the pain, but also the trust and the surrendering. So I'm really trying to lean into that more, and finding that balance, because I think too often we live in extremes. We're either like all masculine or we're all feminine. And building a business for me doesn't work when you're in either extreme. You actually have to have both balanced. And that's why our mantra is sisterhood, soul, and strategy, because you need both soul and strategy. You cannot only be focused on numbers, and you also can't only be focused on, you know, whatever you lights you up for the day. Like it has to literally be a balance of both. And so for me, it's I've lived most of my life in that masculine energy of like making things happen, forcing things, pushing through when I probably shouldn't have. And so now I'm really trying to find that balance of, well, I can still challenge myself, but I don't need to do it, you know, at the cost of XYZ or sacrificing this thing, which a lot of times now is my personal life, sacrificing my time with my family in order to reach a certain outcome. When what if I took my hands off the wheel and said, okay, I put in the effort that, you know, I gave it my best effort, but now I'm going to let it go and see what happens. And so just like playing with that edge.
For the woman listening who didn't maybe grow up with entrepreneurial parents, or people like, you can do anything. It's more like you get a job, go to college, stay in a career, or whatever it is. Like I can think of one friend of mine who, she said, it can be difficult sometimes because besides the cool entrepreneurial business owner, you know, virtual groups that we can be a part of, the people we love the most are like, yeah, but you don't have experience doing that, or how is that going to work, or what? The women that you have in your life that do have business owner dreams and think, I know this would work, I need the right support or the right community or the right strategy. How do you help? Not everybody that was fortunate enough to kind of be able to go at it confidently since 20 years old, or even before that, you were rocking, selling. I love that you were selling play tickets. Like, if you want to go see our play, you have to buy a ticket.
It's not free. Yeah, well, I will just say my husband was not raised as an entrepreneur, and he's definitely more leans on the side of like, you know, play it safe and the quote unquote realistic one. But I've learned to find support in other places. And it doesn't necessarily mean that he doesn't support me. He just like really has to take it a different angle, a different perspective. And I actually have learned that I have to approach him differently if I have an idea. He's heard this saying many times, I have an idea. And now if I have an idea that I'm really serious about, I show him my plan. I, you know, try to project what the results are going to be. I've shown him like full slideshows now, like if I'm really serious about an idea, because he just needs more of the details. He needs to understand what is the result going to be. So I think it is, sometimes we feel like it's, oh, they're not supportive, but they also don't understand entrepreneurship because it hasn't been their norm. So it doesn't mean that they're not necessarily not supporting you. They just don't know what they don't know. And you might just have to approach them differently. If it is something like it's a partner where like they need to know what you're doing, then yeah, you might just have to approach them about it differently. They look at life from a different lens. So I've really had to step back and be like, okay, it's not that he doesn't support me. He just doesn't know what the potential outcome could be. So let me paint a better picture for him. So I've taken that upon myself to really break that down. And then there are just certain things that I don't go to him for that support. I go to my community and I go to my mentors. And that's why it's so important to have a mentor in whatever goal you're going after, because they understand where you're at, what your goals are, why you want them, and they can give you that perspective. So sometimes I think it's just we have too high of expectations that everyone is coming at things from the same lens that we are. And most of the time they're not. And it's really easy to feel like we're not being supported by them, but really they just don't know what they don't know. So, give them some grace and go to the right people, go to your mentors, go to your community. Those are the people that really understand because they're probably doing it alongside you.
And the women in your group, do you have a story or two that's like your favorite, that women were a part of this and their whole life changed, or like something really about being in your community like 180 their life, or just something that to you it sticks out and you're like, oh, this is one of my favorite stories?
Oh my gosh, there are so many.
Yeah,
Yes, like just
love stories. So let's go.
seeing the transformations. Well, I'll just share a couple. Yeah, one, I met her when she was running her boutique, and it was not, and I knew like she was struggling in it, and it was not really meant to be the business for her. And once she decided to close it, I approached her and asked if she wanted to come work with me behind the scenes of building this community, because I was about to go on maternity leave. So I brought her in actually working for me. And then off of that, she's been able to build an incredible business for herself. And just watching her evolve and grow has been the most incredible, story that came to mind immediately. And that was someone that like I saw that she was going to do something else from the time she told me she needed to close her business. I told her like, you'll be back, you'll run some other business that is the right fit for you. And that's exactly what she's doing now. And also still helping me build up Small Business Sister Circle, which is just incredible to see people's gifts really shine through. And then another one that comes to mind was someone that was running a brick and mortar. She actually took over my studio space when I had decided to leave. And she was there for about a year and decided that was not the path for her, and completely pivoted her business and stepped away from serving clients in the way that she was to build something more sustainable for her and her family. And now just watching her evolve and grow and really flourish, even in postpartum, which I think is just so incredible. So those are two that come to mind right away. And what's interesting about them is they were both people that started in our community doing one thing and then stepped away from that thing, either closed that business completely or pivoted it, and now are really thriving now that they've found a way to do business in a way that really serves them and their family. And I think that that's one of my favorite parts of what I get to do, is to support people through those difficult transitions, through those big pivots in their life and business, because that's what I went through. And that's what the book is really all about, is my pivot through my first business into what I'm doing now.
And paint the picture of what you're doing now, because if I remember correctly, Jillian Murphy came in a sparkly skirt to speak at one of your events not that long ago, correct?
Yes. So Jillian came to speak at our Sister Circle Summit this year in April. So what I'm doing now, I have fully pivoted from running my first business, which was a fitness and yoga studio, to now leading a community for female small business owners called Small Business Sister Circle. We started as just a small local group meeting monthly and having this annual Sister Circle conference. We've now held the conference for 6 years. We're now expanding into chapters across the Midwest. So we have one chapter outside of my own in Iowa, and later this summer we'll have another one coming to Iowa, another one coming to Wisconsin, and just continuing to grow that out. So we have a membership community that meets in person and virtually every month. We have our annual summit. We also host a leadership retreat every fall for speakers and leaders. And I also coach one-on-one with people that want to, build out either a community or an event, or really step into their next level of leadership as a speaker.
Girl, you are doing all the things and making this world a better place.
And I love it.
Yes, I can tell. And in terms of confidence, were there, and if it's something that you shared in the book or in life, I mean, like I said, I don't think confidence is one thing like you're like, oh, I'm confident now. I mean, for me, I was always confident speaking up for myself. I wasn't always confident in my body. So I had to work on that. Then
Mhm.
at 40, I was like, boy, I got to get my money life together because I really haven't been confident in this area. I've almost avoided it like an ostrich for the
Yeah.
last 40 years. So anyway, I think it builds on itself. And like, even when I'm working with my clients, they might come to me for one thing, then we get a win and we discover something else that they want the confidence to do or change. So for you, where have the struggles been and how have you worked through those?
Oh man, yeah, I started out very confident at 20 years old, and I feel like through my experiences I kind of got, knocked down a few notches. Just realizing that, like, wow, I don't actually know as much as I thought I did. And I was really young. I was growing up with that first business. I made a lot of mistakes that I now wouldn't be doing what I am without have making those mistakes, right? We all learn and grow from them. But I really did start writing my book in my rock bottom when I felt like a failure. I felt like that first business I failed, and I even started Sister Circle in a point where I didn't know if anyone would even follow me, if anyone wanted to learn from me, because in my eyes, I had quote unquote failed in
Mm.
that first business. But really, what happened was I grew and scaled right before COVID hit. And that literally just killed and crushed all of my momentum. And I had to figure it out from there. So I had to rebuild my confidence, starting over completely in new things like building a community. And that's also when I started doing real estate. So I was starting over in a brand new industry I did not feel confident in. There was a huge learning curve. I was putting myself out there in a new way. And then I felt like I finally was confident. And then I had a baby. And that changed everything in a whole new way, too, because I was very confident in my body before I went through pregnancy. And then even after the fact, a lot of women you think are just going to like go back to the size you were beforehand. And I had to learn new habits, new routines, and essentially relearn my body in a whole new way in postpartum. And it was so interesting because I was very confident in business before I had my child. But because my confidence and how I was feeling and looking physically had kind of diminished after my baby, it seeped into every other area of my life.
Mhm.
It like killed my confidence in my business. It killed it right before I was about to launch my book. Like, even having a book itself is a whole like vulnerability hangover. So it was a really, really critical point when I had to rebuild my confidence in myself and my body and what I was building after I had a baby too. So I do think we go through these like stages of life. And if you're an entrepreneur business, and that's what my book is all about, is the seasons of soulpreneurship. We go through these stages where we do have a lot of confidence, and then something happens that kind of shakes up that confidence, and then we have to rebuild it in a whole new way. And it's like an identity death, one after another. It's like an ego death, one after another, as you start to really like peel back these layers. And
Mhm.
like you said, it's like I get confident in one area. Well, what about this area over here, right? We start to kind of peel it back and then really realize what's at the root of all of that.
And you're right, it does affect everything. Where would you love people to connect with you? What are you working on right now that you're like, I would love people to be a part of this thing or connect with me here?
Yeah, I would say if you are looking to grow community in person, I'd love to connect with you. My heart and soul is really in spreading our mission of helping female small business owners in small towns across the Midwest. So getting more chapters out there, we fully support you on the back end and the front end, like really in every way possible, to build a business a community that doesn't burn you out. So I would say connecting with me on that, connecting with my book. I love for anyone to read the book. It's inspiring stories of my journey as an entrepreneur, as well as other stories sprinkled in. That has been like a labor of love for me. And I also have a podcast, so Sisterhood, Soul, and Strategy. I hang out most on Instagram at Stephanie Lea Ross. And or if you're looking for community, you can join us in person or virtually. And we have our Sister Circle Summit that we host every single spring in La Crosse, Wisconsin. It is one of the only female business owner conferences in the Midwest. So just something really unique that you don't maybe have to get on a plane and fly to if you are local to the Midwest.
And La Crosse is gorgeous in the summer.
Yes.
It
Absolutely.
is gorgeous. Girl, that's a whole lot of ways to connect with you. I will put all that in the show notes because all of it is it's great resources. It's a great opportunity to connect with you, but also, like you said, with other women. So I will put all that in the show notes. I loved having you. I love what you're doing. It's sort of that, if it's not there, build it. So
yes. Maybe it's for you to build. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
If something in today's episode hit you in your heart, I want you to raise your hand right now because I am talking directly to you. Maybe you are dating and you have never really stopped to ask yourself what you actually want, how you want to feel, and what you absolutely will not tolerate anymore. Maybe you're in a relationship or marriage and you are still people-pleasing, still saying yes when you mean no, still making yourself smaller so everyone around you stays comfortable. Maybe you were taught to be a good girl, not cause waves, not take up too much space, and you are exhausted from it. Imagine waking up and knowing exactly who you are, wearing what you want, saying what you mean, letting other people's opinions of you be their problem, not yours. That is a skill, and it is exactly what we build together. My coaching is not a formal weekly call you have to wait for. It's me in your pocket, available via text and voice note in real time as life actually happens. Like your most honest best friend, who also happens to have a master's degree and zero tolerance for you playing small. If you are ready for that, come find me. You can DM me on the Instagram, the link is in the show notes, or head to morganbarkus.com to get in touch. Until next time, stay unapologetic.